Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today there was a chat with Charlie in afternoon at 1 o'clock in Eastern time. I was completely busy with my work, and at the end of the day somebody reminded me of that. So I just went through it for an hour, and I thought I would make a summary video out of it. There are some interesting things that he had told us regarding what were the spillover numbers, what are the spillover numbers for 2022, and what were the wasted visas from last year, and a couple of things in the EB2 and EB3 category that are worth mentioning. So we'll go through the questions as he answered. I'm just a messenger here, so don't get angry with me if there is any bad news for you, but that is it is what it is. So let's look at it in summary. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now today was the last chat with Charlie in the sense that chatting with Charlie Oppenheim himself. He is retiring after about 43 years of service in the State Department. So it was kind of a tribute to him. He also did mention that during his watch, there were about 9 million immigrants that were immigrated to the United States during his tenure. So that's a very long time. A lot of the decisions that we have seen in the past regarding the visa bulletin, those were made by Charlie. Some of the important decisions, if you will remember, a decade back when all the EB categories were made current, that was made by Charlie. So we wish Charlie well in his retirement life. Hope he enjoys his time in the new phase of his life with his family. Now there will be his successor who will be coming in, and it's to be seen how quickly that successor kind of gets all these things together and gives us good numbers in the visa bulletin. So it's to be seen. The first question was about the per country cap, which is 7%. Was it discriminatory? It was just a comment made by somebody, but they were expecting some kind of a response from Charlie, and Charlie obviously alluded to the fact that it is the rule, it is the law of the land, that there is a 7% country cap on every country, and it is what it is. So until that changes, they have to follow the rules. Now he also did mention that there is certain discretion at his disposal that he uses if there is a reasonable explanation for doing so. But in this case, while retrogression for the EB3 in India, there was no discretion used. It was pure numbers that were used, and that's what he explained. He did mention that there were a lot of spillovers from the worldwide preference category, unused visas that were used for the EB category, and that's why he was able to progress the EB2 and EB3 dates throughout the year last year at a rapid pace. He did say that there were about 15,000 EB3 visas issued or green cards issued in the year 2021. There was another question, how come there was no information about this EB3 retrogression up until August? Charlie kept saying that there will be no retrogression, and all of a sudden now there is a retrogression. The inventory totals were known long time back. Now what was not known was the demand that was being built up for the EB3 category, and he kind of gave, this time Charlie was prepared a lot. He had 3 slides that he showed. In the first power plant slide, he showed that the estimated annual limits for EB1 to EB5. So he had a chart showing that, and the annual limits for each category EB1, EB2 through EB5 is 80,000 and 80. And he kind of pointed out for EB3 the available limits were 80,000 and 80, but the actual applicants in the pool for EB3 were 92,437. So that's why he said that there was more demand than there were visa numbers available at the end of the year, and that's why he had to retrogress EB3. And then he had the second chart where he showed the estimated per country limit 5605 for India. Minimum India demand within October FID was 44,000 751. So basically the country cap was only that gave only 5600 visas, as against there was a demand of 44,751. So it was hugely disproportionate, and that is why it was necessary to retrogress EB3 India. So he kind of depicted why he had to retrogress the India EB3 through this chart, because he was kind of anticipating those questions in this interview today. So he was well prepared for that. The next slide was amount of applicants against the numerical limits for 2021, and he kind of showed that the EB India use was in excess of 77,122 visas. The next question was, how do we use the otherwise unused visa number? So remember, if there are unused visa numbers from rest of the countries, how they get spilled over into the EB categories. Now the question was, how do they get split over? So he kind of gave some numbers. Again, the annual limit, as you know, 80,080. For EB3, the limits are 5600 for China and India, and all other countries make up for about 55,000 as per the current estimate. So he expects that all other countries will use 55,000 visas. So what it means is the otherwise unused visa. So if you deduct 5600 and 55,000 from 80,000, the remainder is 13,870. So now these unused visas from the otherwise category that are unused will be given to the EB category regardless of the country limit. So it's not going to be dependent on the country. It will be purely based on the priority date. So whoever's priority date is the earliest should be getting these unused visa numbers from otherwise category. So there was a question on how many visa numbers will be available for FB and EB category for 2022. So what would be the visa limit? So he did say that for the family based category, it will still be 226,000 visas for this 2022 fiscal year 2022. But for the EB category, he has reduced the number from 290. That's what the number he used to tell us, 290k to 280,000 visas. So now he did say that if the legislative changes pass, then these numbers could change. If there are some numbers to be given back to the FB category, then that will have an impact on the available numbers for EB category for 2022. Obviously, we all know that. Now there is an interesting question. Is there a country cap on spillovers, which we just saw in the previous question as well? And then the answer is no. The spillovers are to be used by priority date only. So there is no per country cap on the spillover numbers. So the earliest priority date is usually for the Indian citizens, and they benefit the most from the spillover numbers because their priority dates are earliest. And this was also the reason why EB1 has remained current since last year. Now, important question: where these spillovers applied in the numerical in the numbers that we see for EB2 and EB3 India for 2022? Were these spillover numbers taken into account for this visa bulletin chart? The answer was yes. There was a specific question on whether we should expect to see any retrogression for EB1 India. The answer was no, unless there are legislative changes. And I also told this in my previous video, if there are legislative changes, then there will be impact to EB1 as well. So there was another question: how soon will the dates progress for EB2 and EB3? He said, for India, obviously, he said that the EB2 will keep moving forward by a few months at a time, but EB3 probably will not move at all, because if you look at it, at the visa bulletin, the difference between the filing date chart and the final action date chart for EB3 India is very, very small. It's about a month or so. So you can imagine these dates that are mentioned in the filing date chart now are supposed to be met by final action date chart within the span of like 9 months. So if you can imagine, for the next 9 months, EB3 India has only space to move by about a month. So it will be like few days at a time, if at all there is any progression in the dates for EB3 India. Now there was another question that somebody is current in the October visa bulletin but retrogresses in the November visa bulletin. What happens in that case? And I have explained this in my previous videos as well. What happens is your case is put on hold. The USCIS officer, if they were already processing your case, they will go up until they make the final decision. They will request a number from the State Department, and if your case has retrogressed or date has retrogressed, you will not get that number and your case will be put on hold until such time when your priority date becomes current again. So during this time you will still remain in the adjustment of status. You will still be able to avail the EAD and advance payroll and continue to live your life, but your green card will only be processed when your date becomes current again. There was a specific question about EB3 India for September 2014. Will it be current in the fiscal year 2022 for a September 2014 date for EB3 India? And the answer was clearly no, and we all know why. Because there is no movement between the filing date chart and final action date chart. It's just about a month or two in between. So EB3 is not going to move at all for the foreseeable future. Now again, there was a question: what would the visa bulletin look like at the end of fiscal year 2022? For family based category, there is not going to be much change because they already have sufficient applications in comparison to the number of visa numbers available for the next year. So there is not going to be much movement in the family based category. Unless there is any legislative changes, and even if there is legislative changes with this reconciliation bill or the budget bill, even if they pass, they won't take into effect until middle of next year. So you should be seeing the same thing that Charlie has told until middle of next year, and then those legislative changes will kick in. And if they are passed and if the FB spillover go back to the FB category, then there is going to be a big negative consequence to the EB category. We could see EB2, EB3 and even probably EB1 retrogress if these legislative actions pass. Now there was a question about the interfiling from EB3 to EB2. Now that the EB2 is progressing pretty fast, there might be a reverse trend of upgrade of applications from EB3 to EB2, and that certainly will have consequence on EB2 numbers, but when that will happen, it's not very clear. It could happen in the second part of the next year, but if that happens, then the EB2 will drastically slow down again, and EB3 might speed up a little bit, but that's to be seen. That cannot be predicted at this point of time. Now again, there was a question regarding are these spillover numbers from FB to EB considered in the FY 2022 visa bulletin, and yes, they were considered. Now if nothing changes, then we are going to see only a few months progression for EB2 throughout the year. EB1 will remain current throughout the year, and EB3 will not progress much at all. Now if there are legislative changes and if they are successful, if the visa numbers are recaptured by FB category, then it's going to have a drastic impact on EB category. As I said earlier, all of the EB categories might retrogress in that situation. Now he also explained how these spillover numbers split. Then he said that, and I explained it in a few of my videos, that unused from EB1 go to EB2, unused from EB2 go to EB3, and unused from EB3, which is rarely a case, goes back to EB1. At least that's per the statute. Also unused from EB4 and EB5 go back to EB1, and then they flow again. So that cycle kind of continues. Now there was another question that will those 80,000 visas, and Charlie actually corrected that there were less than 80,000 visas that were wasted from EB category last year, which is 2021. There were only 62,000 visas that were wasted, and they are not coming back into the pool. They may go back to FB category, but that's probably not going to happen. So they are probably going to go waste. So that's really what was in a nutshell that Charlie explained. In summary, EB2 will progress by few months. We'll continue to see that trend. EB3 retrogression should be done. There were a lot of questions that whether the EB3 retrogression will continue. That is done as per Charlie, but there won't be any progression for EB3 India dates in the foreseeable future, unfortunately. And it is to be seen what these legislative things take course, whether they get approved or not, which it will have big ramifications on the EV category, as you all know. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. If you like the content of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.